Alright, what's going on, you guys? So today's video is going to be definitely a girl-ish video. I want to talk about hormonal birth control. So to start with, hormonal birth control is good for some people and not good for others. The way you're going to react is going to be very, very individualized. For example, the birth control I'm going to talk to you about that I had a problem with. My friend's on it and she loves it and has no problems at all. So I'm not saying that any type is bad or good. I'm just saying that you have to learn your body and you have to advocate for when something doesn't feel right. My main purpose for this video is I just want to be, one, open, transparent, and completely honest with you guys. And then also, I don't feel like this is talked about enough, and I feel like it needs to be known a little bit more, because I feel like I wouldn't have suffered for as long. Not that any problem I had was that bad. I've heard of way worse stories, but I don't feel like I should have had to struggle for this long. So I want to start with the fact I got a hormonal intrauterine device. So I got Mirena. That's a hormonal IUD. I had a lot of problems. I'm going to start with what I consider the most important, which was I had a really bad hormonal acne breakout. And this lasted 4 months and it didn't go away. So it was all right here, and it was all along my chin. I was getting them like next to my nose, and that's just right in that area is a big hormonal spot. They were not just normal pimples that you could pop and move on from. They were large red bumps that either wouldn't pop, or if they did, they would swell after they did. And if you don't know me personally, before this, I was somebody who never wore makeup. My friends would be more surprised if I came out wearing makeup than if I came out with no makeup at all. I would usually maybe just do mascara and once in a while like a powdered cover-up. But when all this started happening, I even had to go out and buy foundation because I was so uncomfortable in my own skin, and I never felt that way before. Of course, foundation on somebody who's never worn it before, it just at first made everything worse, but I couldn't stop using it because I didn't want to leave my house without it, which is just terrible. The next big problem I had was about a month or two after I got it, I got my period, and then I just continued to spot afterwards. And I spotted for like a month and a half after the period. And that's just really frustrating, and I was uncomfortable, and I couldn't even leave my house without being prepared to start spotting because it was happening so often. It was probably happening like 5 or 6 out of every 7 days, and I just didn't know what to do. When it did finally stop is when I lost my period altogether, which is, one, a normal symptom of Mirena, and 2, I was just so frustrated at this point that I was just happy it was done and over with. The third main problem that I had, that was like, this was the cherry on top and this was my final straw, was I was having weight issues. So I got it put in at the start of my prep because, like I said, I was on a birth control pill, which is hormonal as well. So I didn't think I would have any problems with this. I had been on the pill for years. I originally got put on it because I had such bad cramps growing up with my period. So I figured hormonal birth control for the cramps the hormonal IUD would be perfect because it would also help with my cramps, and Mirena is known to help with making a really hard period easier. So I thought it would be perfect. But, so I got it put in at the start of my prep, and I was really on point on my prep. I was working harder than I ever had, and I was losing weight, but very slowly, and I felt like it wasn't right, like things weren't adding up. Like, eventually, about halfway through my prep, it had clicked that like I'd gotten it put in at the same time as I started struggling with all of this. So I talked to Paul about it, and he had said, you know, those kinds of hormones can affect weight loss and that it's something to be wary of, but he did not push me in a direction to either get it taken out or to keep it in. He just gave me the facts and let me make my own decisions. He said that he thinks we could still get ready in time for the national show I was preparing for in time. And since I'm so forgetful about the pill and everything, because I'm just a forgetful person, I really wanted to try and make the Mirena work. So I decided to keep it in. Things went okay. We did have to push a little harder than I thought we were going to have to, but we got ready in time for the national shows. But the next problem we ran into, or that I ran into, was my off season. So When it was time to put weight back on, I had planned from the very start I wanted to put on weight relatively quickly. I wanted to get right into a growing phase. I did not want to prolong a dieting, low calorie phase. I just wanted, me and Paul decided that it was best to put on a few pounds very quickly. So we did that. You know, we bumped my calories up. I was having a cheat meal here and there. And we got to where we wanted to hopefully maintain in a normal amount of time. And then what happened was, even though I was on track, I would be tracking my macros 6 days a week. I would have a day to myself where I ate what I wanted. And although I should have been either maintaining or very slowly going up in weight, I was still putting on weight really quickly. And I was like confused. I was getting frustrated about why it was happening and I couldn't make it stop. I was way more on track on an off season than I'd ever been. Last year in my off season, I kind of YOLO bulked a little bit, and I would track like 3, maybe 4 days a week, and the other days I would eat whatever I wanted. And I wasn't drinking enough water. I was never eating vegetables. And this year I was doing all of those things. I was hitting every single workout, not skipping any of them. I was eating vegetables. I was sticking to my macros 6 days a week. I was drinking all my water. I was taking a multivitamin, a greens product. I even had cardio still in my regimen in small amounts, and yet I was gaining weight quicker than I ever had before. I just didn't understand. And even like my reverse last year, I did not reverse at all. Immediately the week after my show last year, I ate everything. This was the first year I actually somewhat reversed, started with lower calories and then slowly added them in. And yet everything was just not going the way it should have been. I felt like my body was working against me. And at this time, the hormonal acne was the worst it's ever been. I will put a picture on the screen. And I was just getting frustrated. I was cleaning my face more. I was buying expensive lotions to try and calm my skin down, all while trying to stay positive about the weight gain, but everything just felt like it was working against me. My body didn't feel like mine, and I felt like no matter what I did, things were just getting worse. So this is where I made a terrible decision. I got so frustrated and I said, you know what, if I'm gonna have breakouts and gain weight eating vegetables and grilled chicken, then I'm gonna do all that eating what I wanna eat. So I would take 2 or 3 days and I would eat a lot. I wouldn't quite binge at this point, because I've had binges and these were between a cheat meal and a binge. They were just more than I should have done, but not crazy. And I would go up like a few pounds, like 4 or 5. And if you've ever watched your weight very closely, you know that if you do that, a lot of times your weight spikes. But when you get back on track, you drink your water, you're hitting your macros, you're hitting your workouts, you come back down. Sometimes it's not the whole 4 or 5 pounds, but it's a lot of it, and you come back down and you steady back out. But what was happening to me is I would go up, and no matter what I did, I couldn't come back down unless I wanted to cut my calories. And I'm in the heart of my off season. I'm trying to put on muscle. Cutting calories was not something I wanted to have to do, and I didn't feel like I should have to at this point. So I got stuck in this cycle of, for 2 weeks, I would be very good, 6 days of macros, perfect, a cheat meal. And I should have been, maintaining, again, maybe slowly adding in weight, but I just kept gaining more weight and I didn't understand why. And I got stuck, like I said, in that cycle. And I would do it over and over again until finally I started looking it up. And I had looked it up before, but I just like very lightly looked. But this time, like I sat down on my computer and I really looked up what other women had to say. And so many women were having this problem with Marina. And I was like, why isn't this being talked about? Why wasn't I warned about any of this? And I just finally realized I had to get this taken out of me. Like something felt so wrong inside of me. I felt like I was I felt so angry at myself. I was like, maybe I should be doing more. Maybe I shouldn't be having a cheat meal a week. And then when I started reading this, I started realizing I'm in off season. I should be able to have a cheat meal. I should be able to, go a little bit over my macros and not gain 1.5 pounds from it. And I know 1.5 pounds is not a lot. Trust me, I know that. But when it's happening week after week while you're trying really hard to maintain your weight and you're used to paying attention to your intake, seeing it happen over and over and over again gets very frustrating when you're working really hard. So I got it taken out, and everything's better. My acne, I do have some makeup on so you can't really tell, but my acne has gotten better. I do have like a few scars and a few pimples left, but generally speaking, a lot of it has cleared up. My period is already back to normal within a month, which is great. A lot of women struggle for a lot longer than a month, so I'm so thankful that mine has regulated so quickly. And my weight, as far as my weight goes, like I said, so since then, my intake, we have bumped my intake because I was really hungry. We've bumped my intake and I'm still having like a cheat meal a week, and yet I've still dropped a pound or two even. So it just goes to show that now that things are working for me, I'm maintaining at a higher intake when I was gaining at a lower intake before, doing nothing differently. I'm drinking the same amount of water, I'm having the same amount of cheat meals. Things are just working for me instead of against me now. So like I said, my point of this video is I just want people to be aware that when something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right, and that you have to, unfortunately, you're gonna have to take it upon yourself to figure it out. You have to try different things. You have to read different things, do your own research, and just figure it out. And don't let people tell you you're crazy, because I had a lot of people telling me I was crazy, and that even like my dad was trying to help me. He's like, maybe you just need to stick to your diet a little bit more. And I was getting so angry because I shouldn't have to be spot on my macros 7 days a week in off season. And I was right. Something was wrong, and my body was trying to tell me it through weight gain, through irregular periods, through the acne on my face that I'd never dealt with before. And even I had just like spurts of low energy that were completely unexplained. I still have them now, but they're all explainable. Either my anxiety is high, so I have low energy. I slept bad, so I have low energy. But before, I would do nothing differently. It should have been a perfectly good day, and I would just have really low energy. And just, those were that was my body's way of like screaming that something was wrong. So I want you to listen to your body. And I want to say thank you for watching this video. I don't want to keep rambling because this video is already way too long of me just sitting down talking. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.